I guess me and Chris had mutual friends in London. I'd been living in London for a while, and this aphex twin video happened, and everybody knew, you know, here comes the genius, and we're really excited, and a lot of people like talking about him and stuff, and a lot of people suggesting that I should ask him.
It had been on the cards for a while. Eventually she sent the track, and I think it was a track that had already been in a different incarnation on her last album.
Actually a B-side mix. It's not the mix that was on the album, because it was sort of suited his little mood, if you want.
I really loved the track. I think at the time I was just trying to make sure that each video I did was different from the last one, you know.
And we decided to do it like after the whole album, so it would be not on any sort of marketing schedule. It would more be like a little mini film or something. I think the only thing I said was that I thought it was very white. I was very sure that all is full of white, and I'm trying to describe some sort of a heaven. But I wanted also to have the other level there. There would be like lust. It wouldn't be just clean. And I think I brought those little ivory statues that are like, I think they're Chinese, of like people making love, like sort of erotic things. And I think I mentioned that I think it should be white, hard surface. That is something that's white and frozen, and then it sort of melts because of love and making love, and so it's like a material that usually, like how the ivory kind of becomes just like, it's erotic. It's quite unusual.
You know, I've been obsessed with engineering and industrial robotics since I was a kid, so it was one of the things I was waiting for a chance to do.
I remember him coming up with a treatment, and it was like the perfect treatment. And I read it and I thought it was a masterpiece. It was incredible. And I called him to tell him, and he was like, no, it's not good enough. And I'm like, what do you mean? And I said, no, it's too literal. It's too literal what we spoke about. It's too easy. And then for a few weeks we didn't know what was going to happen. And then he came back with a treatment which had all the same ingredients, but he had just kind of, it had all merged and all kind of like yeast in bread. It just all kind of, and brought it to the next level.
You suddenly realise when you come in with ideas and stuff, how many things from the past start cropping up. And I mean, I never would have thought that industrial robotics, when I was a late teenager, would end up having a use when I'm trying to come up with an idea for a music video, you know. But it's really, that's kind of the things that's been quite exciting actually, is the way things that you've loved as in the past can somehow kind of cross-pollinate. I actually felt like it was the riskiest video I was doing, because I didn't know whether that kind of imagery would work with that music, you know.
I think I was at a stage then that I was kind of bored with this kind of whole, you know, you have 6 weeks, you have do-do-do. And I just wanted to kind of work outside it all. I was kind of breaking towards that anyway. We first had a deadline, and then we just forgot about it. I think my role while we were shooting was that we would have monitors that of the robot that I could see, and then I would have to put my head into complete accurate position, like that, and be like that forever.
I always think that my strength is in post, is sculpting stuff up in post, and a lot of the time things are pretty ramshackle in the way they're shot, and I think that with the Bjork video, that was the most extreme example of that. I mean, that really was a disaster up until the 11th hour. What I essentially shot for that video was a bunch of stills of this set with these props standing there, and these shots of Bjork in a blue costume with her face painted white, singing. And so in the Avid, looking at this stuff, it just looked awful. And I actually had a panic attack when I went to the telecine to look at the rushes. I just thought, this is a fucking disaster. This looks so awful, it's so cheap and nasty. And it was only when Glassworks started doing the computer graphics stuff, and then I'd say about 6 or 7 shots in, whereas the shots were starting to be done, I started to realise how the video was going to be made completely with the computer graphic additions. And I start having ideas for ways of making the video better all the time. So we were kind of improvising stuff in post. And up until that point I had absolutely no faith whatsoever in computer graphics, and now I'm more of a convert really. But also with the Bjork video, I wanted it to look a little bit 70s. I wanted it to look a little bit old-fashioned. When you shoot into light, it kind of fucks with the contrast a little bit and makes it look a little bit old. But essentially, she got me to do the video and then left me alone. I mean, even when I was doing the post on it, I asked her, do you want to come and see some stuff? And she was like, no, I'll wait till it's done. It made me just want to work even harder to do something she liked. When people interfere and worry, it just, for me, it just makes it so difficult. Whereas with that video, you know, she just completely left me alone.
I guess when you come across someone as special as Chris, you kind of realise that your role, I mean, you just go humble and you kind of realise that your role is more to make sure there's a connection between the tune and the video, and that's sort of your role. And then you set up a space or like a place where he can work with no interference, and that sort of more ends up maybe being in your role.